basic beginners. It's basic tutorial in AutoCAD. It is for beginners and those that have just recently interacted with AutoCAD. So AutoCAD is it's a software that is used by engineers for detailing structures and even drafting. In this series, I will teach you how we use AutoCAD for detailing. And for us to do that, we needed a plan, and so we came up with a sketch. And this sketch might not be a working sketch, but it's just a basic from where you learn how to detail structural elements in AutoCAD. So the last time we reached at this point, we had inserted our windows and our doors on the floor plan, and so I want us to continue from where we left that day. And in this video, we're going to talk about hatches and other subsequent things that we'll do to the plan. So guys, from where we left, please subscribe and share my content so that my content reaches the intended audience, and do not forget to like and give me a thumbs up so that my content may be noticeable. And so without further ado, let us get into the video. Like we said, every time you want to do a new thing, you introduce a layer so that it ensures that if you want to make a change on a specific object, you do not affect all the other things that are in the drawing. So we have introduced two layers, windows and doors, and I want us to introduce another layer, and that layer is called the hatch, and we're going to do different hatches. So I'll name it hatch for the plan view. So if you want to introduce your layer, like we said, you double click on your layer property, you click on your layer property, and then you right click and create on and click on new layer. In this case I had clicked, but now I want to show you how I did it. You click on new layer and then you rename your layer. I have a name for it already, so I will not rename it again. I've named it hatch plan, hatch for the plan view. Then if you want to change the color, you click on color and give it a color that is visible. So I've given it this color 210, and I want to still use the continuous line type and the default line weight. Then you click on close. Once you've done that, for you to make sure that that layer is active, you double click on it to make sure that it's active. So this means that the active layer, the layer that I want to use now, is the hatch plan. So for me to do the hatches, this is the icon for hatch. You click on it and then you ask to whether you want to pick points or boundaries and select the patterns. You just don't select any pattern. There are different patterns for different structural objects, and so I'll also give you a lesson on the types of patterns to use in different hatches. For example, you have a hatch for the wall, you have one for concrete, you have one for steel, you have one for timber. It's not like you're just picking any kind of pattern. So in this case, because we want to hatch the wall, this one represents the wall, and then you're told to which layer. The layer is the hatch layer, and then you're supposed to scale the hatch. It was 1, I placed 50 so that I can be able to see the hatch, and then I'm being asked to pick internal point where your hatch will be. I tried clicking on the internal part, but I'm told that there is an error in the boundary. A closed boundary cannot be determined. There might be gaps between the boundary objects, or the boundary objects might be outside of the display layer. Red circles are temporarily displayed to identify possible gaps in the boundary. These circles can be removed with the redraw or regen commands. Now, one thing with AutoCAD, anything that you do that does not go well with the command, the software gives you the possibilities of where the error is. And in this case, I've been told that red circles will be displayed in the areas where we have possible gaps. So we cannot hatch it because there might be gaps within our plan, and we cannot hatch where the boundaries are not closed. And so the software is kind enough to show us the areas where we might have gaps, and these are the areas where they are marked with red circles. So there are numerous ways in which we can solve this, but the first simplest way that I can use in this is to ensure that the boundary is well closed. I am going to extend these lines and then trim them to ensure that they all meet. So what am I going to do? There are different ways you can extend. You can click on it. Once it's activated like that, you click on the blue icon and then you drag it manually with your mouse. You can also click on this and drag it manually. That means that I've ensured that they are now closed. So to trim this, you can either use trim or you can fillet them at 90 degrees. So I'm going to fillet, and then I'm going to fillet with a radius of 0 because I do not want an arc. I want them to be at 90 degrees. I'm going to fillet with a radius of 0 and press enter. Then select the first object. This is the first object and this is the second object. Now I'm sure that these lines are meeting at 90 degrees. They are joined. This other line was also having issues, so I'm going to drag this line. You realize that I want to drag it through 90 degrees, but I can't because my auto mode is switched off. So I'm going to turn it on. We click on it so that I can draw a perfect straight line. Then I'll also come to this other line and draw it. Once they are drawn like that, I can also fillet it through a radius of 0, press enter, and then it's this and this. Now that I've done that, I'm going to try the hatch to see if there is any other problem. If not, the hatch will just come automatically. So you click on the hatch command and the pattern is still the wall pattern, and then you pick the internal point. You see now once I clicked the internal point, the hatch came in because there were no gaps between the boundaries. Then this other side too. But then once you zoom in, you see that I can't see the hatch properly. Maybe the scale is too small. So what can I do? Let me try increasing the scale to 100. Select the hatch, then increase the scale. Now you see once I increase the scale, we can see the pattern, the hatch pattern on the floor plan. But it's still not visible until you zoom it in. So let me still select the hatch and increase the scale. Now at least it's visible. You can now say that you can see the walls clearly from the hatch. That is how we hatch objects in AutoCAD. So guys, hatching is also a very important part because while we'll be detailing, I will show you the importance of hatching, because hatching gives you a clear picture of the kind of material you're going to use in the different stages of our construction. So guys, basically that is what we do. And then let's name our plan. So for us to name our plan, we will use text. So the first thing I'm going to create a layer. I told you guys, anytime you introduce something new, it's recommended that you give it a new layer so that in case you want to make any changes on it, you do not affect any other layer. If you use one layer for all these things, if you want to delete the windows, you might just delete everything. But the moment that you're using different layers, it means you can make changes in a specific object without affecting the other objects. So I'm going to introduce a new layer for the text. So again, you just click on layer and property, you add a new layer. I'm going to name this layer text. I'm going to give it a color of, let me do that. And then to make it active, you double click on it and you close. So now that my text layer is active, I want to go ahead and give the different rooms names. So I click on text. Then you ask, is it a multi-line text or a single line text? Single line text is just a text on a single line. A multi-line text, just like the name suggests, there are many texts grouped in paragraphs. So I want single line text, so I click on single line. Then I'm asked to specify the start point of the text. This is the start point. Then specify height of the text. I'm going to give it 200. Then text specify rotation angle is 0. I don't want it at any other angle. Then now once that blinks, it means you can write your text there. That is supposed to be my kitchen. So I'm going to, no, not my kitchen, my bedroom. I'm going to name it bedroom 1. And this is supposed to be my closet stroke bath. Then this will be my living room. This will be dining, and this will be kitchen. Then once I'm done, I click on escape. That is how you label your different rooms using AutoCAD. Once again, when that is done, the next thing that we need to do is to dimension.